You see it? So, little interesting fact about here, this fortress was built because Peter the Great had a great battle against the Swedish army a long time ago. And through that battle, Peter the Great actually won and basically took St. Petersburg and built a fortress for future defenses. But the Swedish army never came back, and that's why this defense island was never used as a fortress, but it rather was used later on as a jail. Interesting about Catherine's Palace is that it originated from St. Peter the Great. Peter the Great basically got this palace almost as an inspiration from France, which is the Palace of Versailles. There are two main rooms that you want to pay attention to there. You can see from the video. One is the main stateroom where there are like ceilings basically having all these different kinds of paintings in there. And the paintings that they're trying to put is actually man-made. It's not been done by machine, and it's so big that it basically attracted all these different kinds of celebrities. So, for example, at one time it was Sir Elton John who paid 300 grand to use the stateroom. So, obviously, you can see the room is very spectacular. There is also another room that you can see in there, which is called the Amber Room. The Amber Room, as you can see from the video, it's very precious. We're talking about all the different ambers worth about 200 million pounds. Unfortunately, I couldn't take a video because it's restricted, but basically every single amber, it's a unique kind of stone where they're trying to piece all together with a fitted stone next to it. So it's like a complete wall, but unfortunately, due to the World War II, much of it was destroyed and a lot of the amber was basically gone missing. Statue. Right across, you can see St. Isaac's Cathedral, massive monument in St. Petersburg. As promised, this is one of the canals in St. Petersburg. St. Petersburg is a pretty big city, 610 square kilometers. There are about 44 islands and 432 bridges altogether. You'll see a bridge right here, and you'll see a bridge right here. So it is currently 9:30 p.m. In May, so it's still relatively bright here. But around June 21st will be the white night in St. Petersburg, so which means the night never gets dark. It's always bright. So, I mean, speaking about canal, there's a story why St. Petersburg is built on a canal. So we can go back history a little bit. Before the first Tsar, Russia was basically under the ruling of the Vikings, and also under the ruling of the Golden Horde, which is the Mongols. So around that time, the Mongols basically put Russia as a vassal state. They do let their own people to govern Russia though. So after Mongols defeat the Vikings, they gave the power to Russia and they called them the Grand Duke. But obviously, the Grand Duke has to collect rent and pay the Golden Horde, which is the Mongolians. So about maybe 200 something years later, the Mongols were basically in a very steep decline. First of all, the Yuan dynasty in China was overthrown, became the Ming dynasty, so the Mongols were driven out of China. People in Russia realized that the Mongols were declining power. Basically, they ran through another rebellion, and they tried to kick out the Mongolians. So at that time, the ruler or Grand Duke or Grand Prince was the Ivan IV, and Ivan IV basically had a war with Mongols and basically drove them away, and therefore it became 100% Russian rule. Hermitage. And speaking about Hermitage, right behind me, this little interesting building, this is just the main entrance of the Hermitage. It's huge, and it's actually connected to the Winter Palace of Catherine the Great. So this is basically the one of the home Winter Palace of Catherine the Great. It's massive in there. Again, you pretty much go there with a lot of people. Huge tour group, a lot of people. You have to take off your jacket, and you cannot use a selfie stick when you go to the Hermitage. It's one of the 4 major museums in the world, the other 3 being the British Museum, the New York Met, and also the France Louvre. So this is the 4th one. What makes this one a little different from the others is that all the treasures in there, I think there are like 3 million pieces, they were all purchased by Catherine the Great, as opposed to, you know, other museums where it wasn't really purchased, it was more like taken. So anyway, this is what makes it a little unique here. But so there are a few really important treasure pieces in the Hermitage. One being, the first one we saw was the golden clock given to Catherine the Great by one of her admirers. It's a general in British UK. This golden clock is unique because, you know, we're talking about back in the day when it's not really electronic, it's mechanical, and it was able to tell the clock. For some reason, it only tells the clock once in a week, which is on Friday at 5:15 p.m. You can see from that clock, the only way you can tell the time is the mushrooms, the little mushrooms at the bottom, which shows the Roman numerals. So that's one of the coolest things. There are a lot of other crazy items in there. The second one, I believe, was Da Vinci. There are 2 paintings made by Da Vinci. And what made Da Vinci so different from others is that in the past, before Da Vinci's time, it was the Dark Ages, where most of the paintings were they were drawn where people looked depressed, and the gods and the religious figures, they have a little golden ring to signify their deity status. But it wasn't until the modern arts started from, you know, like Raphael, Michelangelo, Da Vinci, where they started having this, you know, new age where they try to depict people to start to smile, and the gods don't have a yellow ring so that they're more resembled to human beings. So and those paintings are 2 small paintings. One is the Jesus, and the other one, I think it's just like Mary. But anyway, they're both small. So very different. As you can see from the video, there are a lot of people trying to take videos and pictures. It's a zoo. It's just as crazy as Mona Lisa at the Louvre. Before, just track a little bit, before the Hermitage was the Winter Palace. You can see from the Winter Palace there's a throne, huge. But before the throne room, where it's basically all the affairs of the country was conducted, it was the Alexander I war room. It was the time when Alexander I had a great battle with Napoleon, defeated Napoleon. So there's a main picture of Alexander I, but on the side there are a lot of mini portraits of people, generals who have fought the war and won. But as you can see from the video, there's some pictures were black. They're no face. It's because those people either died or their face got destroyed from the horrors of war. But anyway, so this is still cool. I'm still right in front of the Hermitage. And then the next thing is basically, as you keep going to the next room, there's like a major, massive hallway called the Raphael hallway. The Raphael hallway has 52 pictures at the ceiling. You can see from the video, It's basically depicting stories of the Bible from Genesis all the way to the Jesus hanging on the cross. But the real Raphael corridor was actually not at the Hermitage. It was actually at the Vatican. Hey, welcome. This is Peter's Palace at St. Petersburg. It is the second palace in this city. This one being the Summer Palace. It's also Catherine's palace in the summer, because the one that you saw in the other video was Catherine's Winter Palace. So it's a little different. The Winter Palace is in the city center. The Summer Palace is actually around an hour or 45 minutes away from city center. So, beautiful place. As you can see, there's like a massive fountain behind me. The garden is similar to, again, Palace de Versailles, because inspiration came from France. The palace itself, it's quite annoying. You cannot take any pictures or videos, but the sheer number of tourists there is ridiculous. To get in, you probably have to wait for like an hour. And there's so many people, so many tour groups, and you're basically stuck together in a small space. As an independent, it'll be very difficult to get inside.